Right then, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, wherever you are. My name is Paul. I'm also called Knickknack, and I'm the brains, so help me God, behind Knickknack's Daily Teaser. You've probably seen those floating past here on YouTube or on my blog, floating past every morning. What you may or may not know is that occasionally I will talk about films I've seen and enjoyed, or not enjoyed, and I talk about TV shows that I've seen and enjoyed. At the moment, I'm watching the first series of Penny Dreadful City of Angels, the spin off from the original Penny Dreadful a few years ago. And it's got to be said, I'm enjoying it. I've just seen the fourth episode called Josefina and the Holy Spirit, and I am mightily impressed. Let me try and give you a quick summary, though, of this fourth episode. Episode 4, Josefina and the Holy Spirit, opens with the traditional summary of last week's episode, and then moves on to show us Santa Muerte, Lorenzo Iso, in an unnamed Mexican village where two Jewish-American travellers stop to rest, and who are immediately shot down by an unnamed group alongside a local family, which leaves Santa Muerte to do her job as only she can. The scene shifts to the precinct house in LA of Tiago Vega, where he's based, played by Daniel Zavato. He's summoned to a meeting with Captain Vanoff, Brent Spiner, who's frustrated by the lack of progress on a murder case that Vega is working on. He wants more made of it, and he'd want more investigation done of Sister Molly, the Kerry Bichet character. He wants a lot more investigating done, including a no-holds-barred poke-around of Sister Molly's beach house. Meanwhile, Dr. Kraft, Rory Kinnear, is at his son's birthday party, and he is getting dangerously close to Ilsa, the Natalie Dormer character. Meanwhile, Detective Michelin, Nathan Lane, is having his own very Faustian dealings with mobster Benny Berman, who's linked to Mayor Lansky, the Murder Inc. group, if you know them. As for Matteo and Josefina, Tiago's younger brother and sister, they have their own set of demons to deal with. Demons with uniforms, I should point out here. As Magda, Natalie Dormer's character in episode 1 says, all mankind needs to be the monster he truly is being told he can. Those uniforms are giving their wearers permission to do things that really shouldn't be done. Now, what did I make of episode 4 of Josefina and the Holy Spirit? Frankly, it's another damn blinder. Showtime and Johnny Logan, the writer, have served up quite an episode here. From the very little I've seen, I actually can't believe, but I'm not too surprised that people are even so objecting about that. From the little I've seen, some folks feel it doesn't live up to the original Penny Dreadful's roots in the eponymous Victorian magazines. I'm going to beg to differ there. That difference is part of what makes the show fantastic for a start. And in making it, I think Showtime and the showrunner, John Logan, have made a series that, in part, is based on the old pulp magazines, the old detective zines, westerns, horror magazines, that were the US equivalent of the old Penny Dreadfuls. They're places where Louis L'Amour, Earl Stanley Gardner, H.P. Lovecraft, people like that, got as much of a start as did Charles Dickens or Varney the Vampire. The two series have got the same roots. They've got them in different soils, but they've got the same roots. It's showing us the supernatural all the time, all through both series. It's just in this one, it's working a lot more through the supernatural, is working a lot more through humans rather than witches and vampires and werewolves. It's showing us human monsters not just the devil that's provoking them. Then there's quite probably the writing, which is top notch. Again, John Logan really does know his stuff. And the cast. Josefina and the Holy Spirit opens with the Angel of Death doing her job, and it's ratcheting the plot forward in ways that you can both see coming and can be surprised at once they've gone past. There's a scene with Natalie Dormer and Rory Kinnear that's both inevitable and been telescoped for the past 3 episodes, and is surprising when it happens. It's a nice mix. I think it's a nice little contradiction there. You've got Elsa causing that kind of trouble for Dr. Kraft's marriage, the Rory Kinnear character's marriage. You've got her causing trouble for the German-American Bund, fronted by the Doctor. I suspect Ethan Peck, who I knew as Spock in Star Trek Discovery, is going to do wonders there, I think. He seems to have the family talent. There's also other things. Dorma herself is great. She's putting in the overtime there. She's playing Alex, who is the aide. She plays Alex that's causing trouble for. She's the political aide to the councillor that's causing so much trouble, and she's a nasty piece of work. Quite possibly the nastiest piece of work of the 3 or 4 characters Dorma's playing. There's Rio, the gang leader. There's Alex. There's Elsa as well, and it's just and she's just one part or 3 parts in an ensemble cast that's both riveting and watchable and gruesomely horrifying. The character of Josefina, to give you an example, is quite possibly the saddest part of the story, and I can see this is going to go quite some distance. It's going to be a linchpin, I think, for the rest of the series. Josefina is Tiago's, the Daniel Zavato character's younger sister, and she gets sexually assaulted, basically. And I suspect that assault is going to have repercussions. Did you ever see Buffy, though? Just as an example of a bit of thinking for you here. Did you ever see an old Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode called The Body? I don't know if you did or not, but it's basically the story where Buffy's mother dies, and it is quite possibly the finest piece of television I have ever seen in my life. Seriously, it is possibly the finest bit of television I have ever seen, flat out. The scenes with Josefina struggling to deal with what's happened to her, I felt those scenes throughout this episode were on a par with The Body. You don't get good TV that often. The fact I'm comparing parts of this episode to parts of an episode made 20 to 25 years ago will probably tell you something there. Those scenes are beautiful. They're on a par with The Body, and that is partly what makes this episode a riveting watch. It's going to have repercussions, I think, on the rest of the series. We've seen Matthew, her younger brother, react to it. We're going to see her older brothers as well reacting to that, and her mother, I think. The other star of this episode, star of the past couple of episodes, is Nathan Lane as Lewis Mitchell, the Daniel Zavato character's detective partner. He is absolutely superb. I watched Star Trek Picard recently, and I've got to admit, in Picard, Michelle Hurd was the star of the show as Raffi. Absolutely superb. It was a good match of the casting, the writing, the character, all of it in one sort of bouffant package, and she did a great job. Nathan Lane is the Penny Dreadful City of Angels equivalent. He's doing an absolutely superb job, and was great doing this Faustian deal with the Benny Berman character, the gangster. It's a Faustian devilish scene. I suspect the ones everyone's going to remember were Josefina's. And I suspect that's going to have a reaction or a knock-on effect in next week's episode. Frankly, that episode is something I am looking forward to. I hope you're going to be joining me in watching it. I'd love to hear what you think about what I've said about tonight's episode, and I'm going to thank you for watching tonight. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. Come back next Sunday. I'll see you then. Take care.